Hello. How's everyone doing? Good? Okay. I'm going to take you back in time for a moment. September 4th, 1882. Okay? Seminal date in history. Who knows what happened on that date? That was the first time a central power plant launched commercial electricity, 1 street, Pearl Street in Manhattan. 85 customers, 400 lamps, and from that moment, that humble beginning, the electrical revolution began in the United States. And think about every single industry that has been created from that moment. Why do I tell you this story? When I think about the moment of time that we're at right now with the rollout of 5G, it's a very similar moment. Now, even before last fall, when AT&T made the first standards-based 5G millimeter wave browsing session on a device, we had business customers calling us wanting to trial 5G. Who does that, right? Who picks up the phone and says, I want to try something before networks exist, before devices exist? I will tell you. Leading global technology companies like Samsung, Austin Semiconductor. Samsung wanted to create America's first 5G manufacturing innovation zone in their facility in Austin, Texas, so that they could really understand what 5G could do for them for business. What is a 5G manufacturing zone? You've heard a lot about the massive connectivity that 5G provides. They wanted to be able to deploy sensors that first and foremost help them protect their workers. They wanted to be able to monitor machinery and output and get them to produce at levels that they had never done before. They wanted predictive maintenance analytics to keep their machines up and running to make sure that they keep driving their revenue, right? Forward-looking companies like Samsung want to understand how 5G will impact their businesses. Why? Because businesses understand that 5G can be a revolutionary force, just like electricity was after it launched. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. New technology, hype cycle, blah, blah, blah. I've heard this before. And skepticism around new technology is nothing new, right? Talking pictures at movies, color TVs, skepticism around smartphones without physical buttons. Will those really take off, right? And I'll take you back to 2007. A certain iconic device launched on the AT&T network, and it was designed to work on 2.5G and Wi-Fi. There was no app store, there was no gig economy, there weren't even really that fast the speeds that existed at that point. But in a few short years, speeds increased, designs around phones grew up, they became more powerful, and entrepreneurs and innovators really began to lean in and drive an innovation tsunami that arguably was more pronounced than anything since the Industrial Revolution. So, we've been hearing a lot about this today, right? I'm last but one between you and the open session. I know you're excited about that. 5G will drive a step function improvement over 4G. It'll bring ultra-fast speeds, super low latency, massive connectivity, and 5G is arriving at the same time as other game-changing technologies like edge computing, IoT, artificial intelligence. And when you combine all of these things together with 5G, you truly create an environment that will transform every single industry. So with that as backdrop, as context, what I want to do is talk to you about how we discuss 5G with businesses, right? And we focus on what we call our 3 key pillars: mobile, fixed, and edge. And that's because all 3 of these play a key part in the sorts of services that businesses want and need. Let's start with mobility. AT&T prides itself on a lot of firsts when it comes to mobile 5G. first mobile 5G network in the United States, first mobile 5G device in the United States, and as the business guy, I quite like this next one, the first mobile 5G business customer in the United States. And just last week, we became the first carrier in the US to hit 1 gig per second on a mobile 5G device. And by the way, we didn't just do that in one city, we did that in multiple cities where we have our network. Today, we have 5G in parts of 12 cities. We've said that we're going to launch 9 more before the end of the year. We've announced 2 5G smartphones, and by early 2020, we expect that we will have a nationwide sub-6 gig 5G network live. 5G is here, and it's getting bigger quickly. And as much as I like to tout AT&T's accomplishments and achievements, I think it's important to note, right, that the US is winning the global race for 5G with a free market. All major US carriers have already announced that they're in the middle of deploying 5G. And Nicholas was up here a little bit earlier. His latest Ericsson mobility report forecasted that about 50% of all mobile connections in the US would be 5G enabled by 2023. We continue to prove that our country's model works, that a competitive private industry is the best way to drive innovation, investment, and security. And speaking of security, 5G networks are being designed to have unprecedented security, including innovation in how we're deploying our networks, the design of them to have a highly secure and resilient network. Simply put, 5G will be the most secure wireless network infrastructure that we have ever deployed to date. Let me move on to the second pillar, okay? Fixed wireless. This is something that business customers have been asking for years. The ability to use the cellular network to provide connectivity, whether that's primary connectivity or secondary. So as an example, some marketing person decides, hey, I want to go launch a pop-up store next week. Practically, within about a day, we can provision that using our cellular network. Let them handle their point of sale, their digital signage, whatever they need to run their location. Another example, quick service restaurant is using our fiber as their primary connectivity. They can now use our cellular network for seamless failover if anything ever happens. Stay up and running. And what I love most about the way we've approached this is it's been standards-based. That means customers right now can go out and buy fixed cellular solutions and then seamlessly and easily upgrade to 5G when it's available in their area and when it's the right time for them to do it as a business. Literally, it's one screw, you pop out a modem, you put in a 5G modem, subscribe to a new rate plan, and away you go. Fixed wireless will unleash more competition in America into the marketplace as businesses now have more options to choose from. It's that simple. And then the third pillar is probably my favorite, right? Edge computing. Edge computing coupled with 5G will fundamentally reshape our society. And it will drive a sea change in how businesses use cellular networks to drive improved operations and new outcomes for their employees and their customers. Now, just very simply, edge computing is allowing a business to route application-level data to where they need it and it's most effective, whether that's the big cloud, the edge of our network, or even on their premise. It drives incredibly low latency and drives new, interesting outcomes for that business. Let me bring this to life for you with a healthcare example. Rush University Medical Center in Chicago. They're one of the leading hospitals in the country today, and they wanted to understand how they could unleash the power of 5G and edge computing. So they deployed our AT&T Multi-Access Edge Computing Solution, or AT&T MEC for short. I know it's a mouthful. And the way we did it is we actually deployed it as part of the existing LTE infrastructure that they already had inside of their hospital, while in parallel, we began the deployment of 5G millimeter wave for that customer. Again, what I love about this is standards-based allows us to do that seamlessly on behalf of that customer. A business customer wants to make sure that the thing they're deploying will continue to work a year from now. Non-standards does not work, okay? Now, how are they doing this? You have devices. The traffic is routed to a small cell. The small cell then goes through edge compute. The edge compute allows them to say, hey, this is guest traffic, it's someone visiting a patient, allow that to go back to the big cloud, or this is mission critical medical, I want to keep that on a secure local server. Very low latency, high reliability, very secure. So then the possibilities that emerge from this, VR and AR applications to help train new doctors, better doctors faster. Surgeons who can operate on patients without needing to pivot back and forth and looking at a chart. Being able to use distraction therapy as a way to shift away from opioids. And then eventually bringing about new ways to address disease and diagnose it and treat those diseases. It's amazing things are happening here. Now, venues are businesses as well. So let's talk about how 5G can also enhance casual activities, entertainment, stadiums, etc. I live in Dallas. If you know anything about Dallas, you know that the Dallas Cowboys rule. The stadium, the AT&T Stadium is in Arlington, and it is the first stadium with 5G in America, right? And what we're doing with that is we're using that 5G to help deliver the next generation of entertainment into AT&T Stadium. We're going to be blurring the digital and physical experiences and delivering entirely new ways of approaching the game that simply have not been possible before. So how could this look to fans, right? See the game from an entirely new perspective. See it from your favorite player's perspective. Be part of a virtual huddle. Get up close and personal in the locker room after the win, celebrating with your favorite team. This drives new engagement models, right? Gamification. You're there, you want to be able to call what's going to happen on the next play, every single play of the game, and at the end of the session, be able to compare how you did with every other fan. It's very cool things. So, in closing, 5G will transform the way that we manufacture goods, the way that we treat patients, the way that we are entertained. It will transform every single industry. And I want to emphasize again that the US is already staking out a leadership position in this space thanks to innovative, forward-looking companies who are already playing with, using, embracing 5G. We're at the beginning of this journey, just like that electrical plant was in Manhattan 137 years ago. And the early adopters of 5G are like those early adopters of electricity. Because once you flip the switch to on, innovation begins and the future comes. Thank you very much.